All right, let's talk about that plant. You know the one. It's got those broad, kind of wavy leaves, and it just pops up everywhere. Sidewalk cracks, the corner of your lawn, you name it. You've probably pulled it, mowed over it, maybe even sprayed it. And you know, we spend millions of dollars every single year in this all-out war against it, calling it a noxious weed. But what if I told you this so-called pest is actually a biological powerhouse, a piece of living history we've done our best to forget?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why are we locked in this endless battle with a plant that our own ancestors saw as a lifesaver? We see it as this imperfection, this blemish on our perfect green lawns. But in our obsession with control, we've completely forgotten its incredible value. So today, we're going to dig up the very truth about this remarkable survivor, yellow dock. What did our grandparents know that we've let go of?
And this is where the story just gets wild. In an age where we're all chasing the latest superfoods, kale smoothies, quinoa bowls, the real champion might be the one we've been tossing in the compost heap this whole time. We're always told, eat your spinach for iron, but yellow dock, the plant we actively try to kill, just blows it completely out of the water.
Now, this isn't some new health trend somebody discovered in a lab. This is ancient, hard-won knowledge. During one of the most desperate times in modern history, this plant was a critical survival food. For communities that were on the absolute brink, facing malnutrition and disease, this wasn't just another vegetable, it was medicine. For a lot of people, it was the difference between making it through the winter and not.
And that right there is the most amazing part of this whole thing. This potent, free, nutrient-packed food isn't hiding away in some remote jungle. It's literally right under our noses. It's the ultimate irony, right? We'll drive right past it to go to a fancy grocery store and buy expensive greens that have traveled thousands of miles, while a more powerful version is growing for free in the very spot we're about to hit with weed killer.
So to really get why yellow dock is so special, we have to go back in time, to the harsh reality of the 1930s. In rural America, the Great Depression wasn't just about money. It was about a deep, profound lack of nutrition. And this led to a widespread, debilitating condition that folks called thin blood, a folk term for what we now know is severe iron deficiency anemia.
I want you to just imagine the scene. It's late February. The canned goods from last summer are gone. The root cellar is almost empty. People are just exhausted, pale, weak, and getting sick easily. The world outside is still gray and brown. And then, as the very first sign of life, sometimes pushing right up through the snow, yellow dock is the first green thing to appear. It was this incredible symbol of hope, a spring tonic that literally woke the body up from the edge of starvation.
And that quote just says it all, doesn't it? This wasn't just some old folklore. This was real, applied science in the community. Grandmothers and rural doctors would prescribe tonics made from its root or tell families to cook up the leaves, not because of superstition, but because they saw the results. They saw it bring color back to the cheeks of pale kids and strength back to weary farmers. It was, quite literally, a bridge to survival.
So yeah, the history is powerful, but in our world, we want the data. We want lab results. Well, when we finally took yellow dock into the lab and put it under the microscope, the nutritional numbers were, frankly, almost embarrassing for our modern superfoods.
Okay, now just look at this direct comparison. For the same 100 grams serving, about what you'd throw in a salad, yellow dock gives you a hefty 5.6 milligrams of iron. Spinach, our poster child for iron, only averages about 2.7. I mean, this isn't a small difference. It's not a rounding error. The numbers just don't lie.
So the bottom line is this. The weed we pull out and throw away has more than double the iron of the vegetable we go out and buy at the supermarket. Just think about the resources, the water, the shipping that go into getting that spinach to your plate. And all the while, a superior source of iron is literally fighting for its life in your backyard.
But the real genius of this plant isn't just the amount of iron, it's the whole package. See, nature is the ultimate pharmacist. If you've ever taken those synthetic iron pills, you know they can cause some serious digestive issues. Well, yellow dock has a built-in solution. It packages its high iron with a big dose of vitamin C, which is absolutely crucial for our bodies to actually absorb the iron. And then its root has these compounds that act as a gentle, natural laxative, preventing the side effects you get from supplements. It's a sophisticated, perfectly balanced delivery system, and it's growing for free.
Which brings us right back to that central mystery. If this plant is a historical hero and the nutritional champion, why is it on pretty much every noxious weed list in North America? Why do we hate it so much? Well, the answer is fascinating. It has nothing to do with the plant being bad for us and everything to do with its absolute refusal to be controlled.
First off,
Its strategy is just overwhelming numbers. A single, healthy plant can crank out a staggering 60,000 seeds in one season. I mean, imagine that. A tiny army launched on the wind, designed to find every single crack and corner of the landscape and set up a new colony. It plays a numbers game, and it almost always wins.
And here's its real superpower. It can time travel. Those 60,000 seeds have this hard, protective shell that lets them lie dormant, just sleeping in the soil for up to 80 years, waiting for the perfect conditions. Think about that. When you dig a new garden bed today, you could be waking up seeds that fell before World War II even started. You simply can't outwait this plant.
Its resilience is just legendary. All that nutrition comes from a massive taproot that can dive 4 feet or more into the earth, mining minerals from deep down where other plants can't reach. Try to pull it out, and if even a tiny 1-inch piece breaks off, a whole new plant will grow back. Mow it down, it sees that as a minor inconvenience and shoots up new leaves in just a few days. So to the modern lawn care industry, which is built on this idea of a perfect, uniform, sterile green carpet, this rebellious survivor is a total nightmare. We declared war on a superfood simply because it was too good at staying alive.
Okay, so I can see the gears turning. You're probably looking out your window right now, seeing those familiar leaves in a whole new light. But before you run outside with a salad bowl, we need to talk. Because harvesting wild plants requires knowledge and respect. And there are a few crucial rules you absolutely have to follow to do this safely.
So the main thing to know about yellow dock is a compound called oxalic acid. It's what gives yellow dock its signature sour, kind of lemony taste, and it's the exact same stuff you find in spinach and chard and rhubarb. Now, in large quantities eaten raw, it can be a problem for some people. But the solution is incredibly simple, and it's the same one our ancestors used. You cook it. Just boil or blanch the young leaves like you would collard greens. Most of that oxalic acid leaches out into the water, you pour that water off, and you're left with a delicious, tender, mineral-rich green.
Now listen up, because this next slide is the most important part of this entire explainer. Please pay close attention. In the early spring, young yellow dock has a deadly look-alike, foxglove. And eating even a tiny bit of foxglove can be fatal. You must know the difference. And the rule is beautifully simple. Smooth versus fuzzy. Run your fingers over the leaf. Yellow dock leaves are completely smooth, glossy, and hairless, with those classic wavy edges. Foxglove leaves are soft, downy, and covered in fine hairs, kind of like felt. If the leaf is fuzzy, do not touch it. If you are not 1000% certain, do not eat it.
Because of that risk, and also to avoid plants that might be contaminated by car exhaust or a neighbor's weed spray, the absolute best and safest way to go is to become a rebel gardener. Just grow it yourself. You can buy certified seeds online from good suppliers. Find a neglected corner of your garden, scatter the seeds, press them gently into the dirt, they need light to germinate, and keep them moist. Once it's established, you will have a permanent, lifetime supply of this incredible spring green right outside your own door.
So, it all leaves you with this final thought. We've spent nearly a century fighting a war against a vegetable, not because it's harmful, but because it's messy, it's persistent, and it's free. We paved over a plant that cured anemia to grow grass that feeds nothing. And this whole story makes you wonder, what other lifesavers, what other powerful solutions have we just dismissed as weeds, simply because they refuse to be controlled and don't fit our neat and tidy picture of how the world is supposed to look?